expound more on the topic? Yes, I think our comrade Nana is still not available. She's trying to get on. Yes, you realize non-cooperation has there are a lot of acts many there are a lot of acts of non-cooperation. You'll see from the doctors, the teachers. Yes, they have always tried out some of these acts. For example, the sit-down strikes. No one has no one can shoot at you because you are saying I'm not going to go and do this because I was not because my salary has not been raised to the amount that was agreed upon. So you realize these acts in such instances, in such dictatorships such as the one in Uganda, whereby it becomes a threat to very many, like not so many people can gather up the courage to go head on and engage in the street protests against the dictatorship. It becomes these some of these activities also helps the other individuals have a contribution that they lay out on the struggle of the liberation of this country. Yes, I welcome all the new members that are available. I've seen some who have joined. Yes, thank you so much for joining this space. Yes, we have seen in Uganda still we have seen acts like the walk to work in 2011. Yes, that was more. It's an act of non-cooperation, but it involved having an head-on with the state, and that's how they cracked down a few individuals. But these are some activities that when people engage in them, they are at a lesser risk of being affected by the repression from the regime. But again, they are also these are activities that again provoke the regime into appealing to the people's demands. You realize you realize in some there this non-cooperation. I don't want to go deep into what the speakers have prepared. Yes, I don't want to go so much into what the speakers have prepared, uh, but these non-corporations can be broken down into different classes. They are political, the different forms. The hunger strikes, the what. So some of them may not be political, but these acts of non-cooperation can these acts of non-cooperations are acts of not doing. They are acts of refusing to do what people expect you to do. You do either the contrary or you don't do it at all, and this forces them to heed to the demands that you have. Yes, you see, like for example, in the wake of the World War II, there is where the Norwegian teachers refused to teach the Nazi curriculum. Here, no one would force them. No one can come and shoot you because you have refused to teach a curriculum. But it was they had refused to cooperate because you cannot teach. The argument was they could not engage in teaching a curriculum of people who were engaging in the killing of other people. So this helped them to to achieve their goal, and in the end the World War II had to come to an end and things went back to normal. Yes, I don't know who the speakers, if comrade Nana has finally gotten the network. If she's ready, she can take the floor and expound more. As we wait for comrade Howard, he also got a technical issue. So, and any member available can request for the microphone, and they will be given a chance to also expound on how they understand the topic for today, that is analyzing the difference between protests and non-cooperation acts. Yes, any member who is as we wait for the other speakers, remember who has gotten something from these, who can also explain in their own way the difference between these two, is invited to take on the mic and discuss for the others. Thank you so much.
Maybe I can continue since the other speakers seem to be having technical issues. I still had like a few things to add on to that about non-cooperation and protest. Well, for those ones who followed from how I introduced my my submission would pick up from there that when we also look at non-cooperation and protest, you will see also some difference that non-cooperation is generally peaceful. It is generally peaceful, whereas protest turns violent at some point. That is where we call it a riot. It ceases to be like a peaceful march. Sometimes it ends up turning protest, and that one we call it a violent protest when it gets out of hand and ceases to be a peaceful protest. And this we have seen in many cases, even the November 2020. I usually call it riot because it had already ceased to be peaceful. The leaders intended it to be peaceful, but it turned rowdy, and we now call it November riot. When you look at non-cooperation in relation to the situation in our country, you will see that even non-cooperation is really less risky because the exposure it puts you to is lesser than the exposure a protest would put you through. So this is what brings their difference, because a protest, you need to be there physically. You can't, you can, okay, whereas non-cooperation is also a form of protest, but when we're in this context of direct action, you will see that that one demands your physical presence. But non-cooperation, yes, I can decide not to cooperate from my room like the teachers did. Each person was staying at their homes, refusing to go and teach. Like when we refused to pay taxes, the OTT, they told us, someone threatened us on TV that they will arrest us. Who was arrested for refusal to pay OTT? It is something that does not expose you to any risk, because you're really not physical. You're not doing it physically. It's like something technical that it would require the oppressor a lot of resources, first of all, to get to you. Teachers recently, I'm giving this example because this is the most recent one. Teachers recently went on strike, sit down. They laid down their tools. And we all saw how they shook, by the way, the Ministry of Education to an extent where the First Lady had to come and start begging them somehow. You people have betrayed God and what, those things. But she could really not come directly to these teachers. And by the time whatever threats that the Prime Minister was making, we shall fire you, you know very well you can't, the government cannot just wake up in the morning and just fire like 10,000 teachers. That is really impossible, because there is a lot of technicalities that comes with recruitment and also firing someone, and then the legal processes that someone would take against you. So you find that non-cooperation gets people in authority, gets duty bearers even more confused. So it is less risky, and yet if properly driven to the very end, it has like a very great impact onto something, onto the situation that you are demanding. Then something also about non-cooperation and protest. Uh, what did I? Non-cooperation, on the other hand, is very easy to coordinate. Reasons is we know the participants, the people to involve, because it's normally very direct and specific. So you know the participants to involve, you know the duty bearers or the authority that you have to address your issues to. But a protest, like I said earlier, tends to be so open. So it is, first of all, even not easy to coordinate a protest. Many of us in this discussion have ever participated in protests, especially peaceful marches. We have seen how hard it is to coordinate people to come and join because of people have diverse minds towards certain things that we try to raise. In the case of Prices Must Fall, we had like several issues coming up that couldn't unite people to rally behind one person or a group of people who have organized a protest against prices of goods. And you find that it is you the organizer against the population. But non-cooperation, it is you the organizer versus an institution. So you're mobilizing like an institution which is easier to reach, and it is easier also to bring them to understand you as a person or as a group. But when it comes to protest, it is too open. People have diverse opinions over it because in the end, someone may see that they benefit less from it, the other person may see they benefit more from it. But when it comes to non-cooperation, everybody is a beneficiary, maybe even equal benefits comes with non-cooperations. So when we are not paying OTT, all of us are refusing to pay the 200 shillings to government. But when we talk of going to protest on prices of goods, and then someone who maybe does not even bother about sugar, does not even drive, so the people are affected differently in such situations. So it is very hard to coordinate people to rally behind other protest actions vis-a-vis non-cooperation. Let me give the floor back to the host.
Yes, thank you so much, Comrade Tamali. Yes, you see, with these acts of non-cooperation, yes, as you have clearly explained, these are acts that are easy to coordinate. You can even coordinate them as you are seated in the comfort of your home. You can even you talked about them being, yes, less risky. This can evidently be seen from the ones that have been tried in our country and elsewhere. You see that for example, you see the recent story that has been thrown in the news is maybe the story of this lady of the airlines who looks to have illegally gotten that appointment. You can you people if people are more creative, they can think of an act of non-cooperation, for example, refusing to use these airlines until its administration is put right. This is something, no one will get your hand and tie a rope around your neck and force you to use their airline, but rather they will have to appeal to your demands. If they want to make sales, or if they want to make profits, they'll either appeal to your demands or accept to make the losses. So these are acts that are easy to do. No one can charge you for not doing them, and clearly they will have an impact. Yes, I saw a man of all seasons requested for a mic. Maybe I'll give him a few minutes to make his point. Yes, man of all seasons, you are welcome, and the floor is yours.
I'm very good to be on
Yes,
this platform. Very good to be on this platform. On this, on this. As I've joined Sorede Seminar as people had begun, I want me to talk about mainly the protest. Yeah, mainly the protest is as a result. Hello, hello.
yes, speaker who is ready can. Maybe I saw two speakers had unmuted at the same time and it was causing a technical issue. Yes, the one who is ready can please unmute. I think Comrade Odong had started. Yes, you can please go on. Yes, Comrade Odong, you can please go on. Uh, Comrade Man of All Seasons, you can please hold on a little. Thank you. Yes, Comrade Odong, I think we shall have you. You can first mute and maybe get a stable network because we can't hear you, and then you can be got you'll be allowed to submit. Yes, at this moment maybe I'll invite uh, Comrade Man of All Seasons. Yes, I think I got that right. Man of All Seasons, you can please take the floor as Comrade Odong gets a stable network. Comrade Senyonga Paul. Comrade Senyonga Paul, you can please take on. I think also Comrade Senyonga Paul must be having also a technical issue. Yes, because he's currently unable to join. Yes, yes. We were still on the different acts of non-cooperation. Yes, you realize the tax resistance, the refusal to pay the OTT taxes was among these are what we can term as economic boycotts. These are, you can also add on in these economic boycotts, you can have the boycotting of these shops. Of if you realize this is a shop that maybe legitimizes the oppressor, you can decide to boycott that shop. Or for example, if there are fuel companies that have decided to keep their prices high despite others lowering, Ugandans can refuse to buy fuel from that particular petrol station until they change on their tariff, their prices of that fuel. Yes, I yes. So I think if Ugandans embrace these acts of non-cooperation, it can be easier for them to achieve their goals in a safer way, and it can be easy for the others to also achieve. Yes, Comrade Nana, you're welcome. And members here were discussing about the different acts of non-cooperation. Before you were around, we first, Comrade Tamali had helped us to expound on the more on the topic, analyzing the difference between protests and non-cooperation. And she had told she had said she had said this the acts of non-cooperation, these are acts of not doing, or acts of refusing to do what people expect, what you're expected to do at that point in order to make your demands known. Yes, you are welcome, Comrade Nana, to present to us what you had prepared for this space. Thank you so much.
Good evening, comrades. Yes, I guess all of you know me. Nana Mwafrika is my name. Sorry, I had a bit of connection challenges, and I'm glad I've been able to join you. Yes, we have to analyze differences between protest and non-cooperation acts. Non-cooperation acts, for me, I would say that's yes, refusal to cooperate with particularly government through various acts of civil disobedience by, in a non-violent way. You can choose non-payment of taxes. You can go any other form. You can have people refuse to act in their positions, even people that are previously employed. Student unions, choose to even